Well, hello, welcome again to another episode of Guided Counsel, where my mission is to help one human at a time. And today I have the pleasure of working with Rich. And Rich, RICH, which he puts as realizing, well, I have to read it before I forget, realizing I create harmony. I brought him here because I met him at one of the events, and he just has this, well, I don't want to talk about the third person. You have this energy that comes along with you that's very I guess magnetic. I think that's probably a good word, is magnetic. And I also feel, based on interactions and getting to know you more, that you are a person, an interdimensional being, meaning that you can exist in different dimensions based on our conversations and what you experience. So I wanted to bring you here because I don't think there's many people. I know Teal Swan is one of those people that can coexist in multiple interdimensional, in different dimensions. And it's very interesting to hear her talk about it. But I wanted to get information from you as to, how do you see yourself? And am I perceiving you correctly?
How do I see myself? Never really thought about how I see myself. I've always felt like a normal individual, um, but always had, I would say, my senses a little alerted since I was a child, but it got very heightened, I would say, very exposed, very sensitive after I was diagnosed with cancer. I had a tumor in my spinal cord, inside my nervous system, inside my nerves in my cord. And when they took it out, they had to cut my back open and remove part of my spine and get into the core of the cords, the tumor. And when they pulled it out, my spinal fluid came out, and it's part of my brain fluid, and my whole. Well, I was later shown that my whole brain was decalcified, and I was sensing a lot of stuff after the fact. That at the time I didn't understand what I was sensing, but now that I am more grounded, I'm able to understand and all these energies that are within um, and anchoring today.
So I have two questions from that. One of them, did you have a near death experience, or were you alive the whole time under this procedure?
Um, I was out. Um, with the surgery. Don't remember anything. Um, now, I had a that happened in 2005, um, and as a business owner, I had a lot of stuff going on. So when I came out of surgery, it was more about work and how to take care of the family because I was self-employed. Um, but I had all these feelings starting to unravel within me, and I felt that something was trying to push something out of me, like, but I didn't know. It came out first as depression, and it seemed like I had a domino effect with fears started popping out and coming out of me. And for 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, for 6 years, I went through like I wouldn't say heavy depression, but I was very overwhelmed with life. Um, the cancer came because I was sick, because I was taking on a lot of energies around me. Um, and not keeping myself in shape, healthy, meditating, doing things that I should have been doing that I wasn't aware that it was part of life till after. Uh,
It
but
wasn't
that
like a
takes
near-death experiences. You were just pretty much knocked out for that portion of the procedure. And then you also mentioned that you had a drainage of your spinal cord fluid and you got decalcified in the brain. And so the decalcification affected the pineal gland. Is that a correct assumption?
correct. The pineal, the pituitary, and all these other glands that we have up
Mhm.
there. So I was instantaneously very sensitive, and I feel that I had a lot of experiences, but they weren't brought to my awareness until 11/11/11 when things really started happening. I was in the shower, suddenly felt a presence, like my higher self coming into my body. Another version, because I had no memory of my past.
Hmm.
Uh, so it was like, I just, whatever was inside of me, get out. But it was like, whatever negative was inside me, it was just like I just had a feeling of get out of me, like whatever was holding me down. And then from that point forward, I went like on a divine timing mission, guided, um, and it took me to a star knowledge conference and a lot of information for me to kind of understand because still at the time I didn't know what was happening to me or the changes that were going on. All I knew is I felt my body being pulled like in different directions, like didn't know what to do, where to go. Um, and I met a few individuals there that literally I didn't know why. I just started crying because I just heard them speaking, my tears just started coming out of my eyes. And that led to another individual, which gave me a Akashic Records reading, and a lot of information came through. And I was told a lot of stuff. At the time, I didn't believe it. And then as time came by, I started understanding what they were sharing was a lot of facts about my future and what part of my mission. I ain't gonna lie, all these years later, my principal number one thing is ground, ground, ground. Whatever I can do to ground, learning and remembering how to be grounded and being, what was that word you used? Interdimensional.
Hmm.
And learning. That's probably the big thing I'm in right now is trying to understand where I'm at the time, energetic wise, because some of them look very similar. Um, but you could feel, and even individuals act differently. Some people are very nice, others are very the opposite. It depends on, I feel a lot has to do with our personal selves. As our energies are clearing and shifting, I feel that we're jumping these lines, these timelines for us to understand ourselves, but not only that, to be able to help our loved ones around us um, by being authentic in every reality, I feel. So,
I think that we jump timelines all the time without even realizing, but you're obviously highly sensitive where you can catch it. You're more aware to say, oh, I'm not where I was 2 seconds ago or a minute ago or whatever. So you're able to capture it. I also want to go back to what you said when you felt like your body was being, put into or separated into different directions or whatever. It kind of sounds like, you know, birthing when you come out as a child and you really don't know, you're like starting from ground zero. and you're trying to figure out learning how to walk, learning how to talk, learning how to like express yourself and communicate your needs and what have you. And this seems like it's a rebirth of your spiritual self, of your spirit, of your higher self. You know, I've now become we're one, but now I can see myself. Gosh, almost like an out of body experience where you can see yourself. You know that you are not really human, right? You're the spirit having the human experience, and you're just trying to figure out how to integrate that relationship um, in a more cohesive way. Does that sound right?
Yes. It's before we, I guess that's a little on the on kind of the top end of where I'm working at right now. Is understanding the different timelines. I want to back up a little bit and get to the the beginning stages of, right after my surgery and having this 11:11 presence come in, because then this is how I felt a lot of the out of body experience or the near death experience was after that presence came in. Is like it almost felt like a knowing, like I had a knowing for a lot of stuff. Um, I understood things better. I had clarity in certain things. Um, and right after that, when I went through that presence, um, I felt a heavy guidance from. I didn't have like a voice talking to me or any. I wasn't like psychic. Like I knew. I had a energy presence, like a feeling, and just got a feeling to do things, and I just followed that path of trusting. That's something that, because I feel that the journey that we're on is about trusting the path that we're on and allowing um, all the stuff that's happening to the individual, um, to allow the process, no matter what we think or how challenging it might be, allowing it and knowing that at the end of whatever the situation is, there's something greater at work, meaning we're either going to have a lesson to move forward by learning from the experience, or it's something that needed to be um, done so we keep moving forward. Either or the reason is trusting and allowing whatever we're going through is critical to our journey in life. Um, and it could be challenging, because we have our opinions, our ideas of way certain things should be. Um, Even today, in this present time that I'm in, I'm still being challenged. And, sometimes when you're in it, you get caught up in it, as you get caught up in it and trying to find your way out of it and understand that, we're so, I would say, huge when it comes to who we are as individuals, as spirits, that learning to take control of all our gifts, our powers, our abilities, and learning how to be in the present moment of compassion, love, unconditional love, um, harmony.
So let's talk about because some people who watch this podcast may or may not be there yet, would have these abilities yet, although it is accessible to all of us. Some of us have more than others, it just depends how much you want to cultivate it, right? In which direction you prefer to go to. Um, what abilities are your strongest suits or your strongest points?
I know one of my abilities is clearing area spaces. It's one of the things that I was guided from the get-go is to clear out spaces. And people say, well, why do you need to clear out a space? Everybody needs to do their own energy work or their own clearing. Um, when I woke up in a certain timeline. Um, and my job was to anchor a lot of frequencies, um, the whole spectrum. And so when I go and do a clearing and grounding for an area, it's not about clearing the people or clearing, it's clearing the space to allow energies or people individually to be able to walk in freely in a safe space and know that they're not going to be manipulated by outside energies or forces. Um, it's to keep a harmony. It's more of a harmonious space because you're still going to feel things and go through stuff, but it's in a in an area where the individual could handle and take care of their own stuff instead of outside forces trying to influence what's going on. Um, the other part is grounding. I help and assist a lot with grounding. I don't know why, since the get-go, one of my things that I was always called to do is, especially when people are going through stuff, is to touch people's feet. And it anchors people pretty quick. The people that can feel it, they say that they feel like their soul comes back into their body like quick. Um,
Are you
I
currently
know.
doing that right now with people, or is this something I know you had done it before, but are you currently doing it? Are you looking into doing it again, or
Well, like I said before, I was in a healing process these last 7 years. I had to heal my body. Um, so I was guided not to do work on people, but I feel as of this month, um, a lot of my gifts are back online. And is it not that they weren't back online? Is that I was going through healing processes that if I would have tried to do other, I could have picked stuff up for myself. I wasn't, I was in vulnerable states, you can say. So now as my body comes back together, then I could actually do the grounding work and help individuals. But I have, family members, my parents, my mom, people, my main family around here, I've done work on them, when I'm guided to touch their feet and stuff. When people go through panic attacks, when there's a lot of energy that runs through a person's body and they can't handle it, by me touching their feet, it kind of grounds them and it calms them down. So a lot of people are going through a lot of heart acceleration and they're speeding up of energy, and because they're not grounded and they're not take the deep breaths to help adjust all that, then there's a lot of individuals that have been doing grounding work that can help and assist with calming those energies down by touching the person's feet or being around them and just communicating sometimes, because it allows the person to release energies when they're talking. So
what do you think is currently going on with the energy? We can talk about specifically to May or future for the year that's causing all this charge in the energy.
I feel that the majority of the population um, are going to start becoming more and more aware, which is going to allow. To me, I feel that there's a lot of clearing going on all the time. I don't know. It feels different to me this year. And this is what I feel right now. So
Mhm.
depending on the timeline that I'm in, I get different feelings. So in some feelings I'll get in the timeline that I see like things are going a certain way, an outcome. And then in other timelines I see that it's actually working in a positive way, that these energies are doing much better. So I can see that a lot of individuals that have done a lot of clearing and a lot of work throughout the last 10, 15 years, I could see that this month is a huge turning point for those individuals moving forward.
Mhm.
And yet, the same thing I see happening the opposite. Those individuals that have been resistant to the change, I could feel that it's going to speed up for them. And their reality is going to tend to speed up because that's one of the things that I see when I go out. I see the reality that there's so much chaos, people cutting each other off. And then I go into another where it seems like everything is just calm. People are respecting each other, going in the flow of things, just things are flowing a lot easier. Um,
Well, you're right on point. I know that for the past year, year and a half, I've been channeling the same information, but now we're there, right? And I've also, listened to other people that channel and provide energy updates or whatever. And you're right on point on what you're saying. Um, as we move into the fifth dimensional, I guess, as we're moving up towards the fifth dimension, it's different. It is correct. It's more light body. It's more calm. And those that are resisting it are going into a different version of the earth where it's still the chaos, but probably more magnified because they continue to resist it. So for them, what they were dealing with as the resistance is going to be harder, and it's going to be harder for them to kind of wake up to it or become more aware. So the lessons are going to be I guess more harsh because the ultimate goal for all of us as a collective is to get to the fifth dimensional state, right? Which is what you were saying was love, unconditional love, being compassionate, being more empathic, um, and so it's just a constant clash, and people like yourself are you can see it, you're in the midst of it kind of, and you're like, whoa, what's going on here, what's going on there, I got to make sure I stay on this side, right? Not to commingle with this side, because if I commingle on that side, then it might stick to me, and then I'll be more towards the other side than this side. It's so for you, I think that's why you're more hyper aware, you're more cautious, and maybe that's one of the reasons why your purpose is to continuously clear areas where those are prevalent, like in the psychic events where there's so many people that come in, from all different walks of life, and all in different parts of their journey, and it seems like you're just trying to stabilize the energetic environment to have a more cohesive place for everybody to, I guess, function at the same time.
so we can work as a group instead of individually. That's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
feeling. Because
Yeah.
when we're all in harmony, then everybody's energy is working in synchronistically instead of everybody doing their own thing. That's kind of the vision I got as you were speaking.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm. 2024, what to me, and I have it in my January podcast, was what I got: the year of collaboration. There's no more competition. There's no more, you know, there's none of that. It's like we all need to stick together to make it happen, to transition accordingly, to, be our highest potential, best potential at this point. So there's no more. I just told somebody this. I'm like, the universe isn't playing around anymore. It's go time.
but one of the things um, coming forward to present events, um, since we're on this topic of time jumping, and I've seen a lot about clearing, um, not only the spaces but ourselves. Because we do tend to bleed into different environments, and it's one of the things that I'm learning right now myself is trying to not bleed into all these different environments and keep my presence present no matter where I go, instead of going places, and then you leave part of your energy scattered everywhere because you're not doing the proper cleansing, calling your energy back, um, keeping your energy up to allow other outside influences not to be carrying them over from one place to another. Something I did a lot because I wasn't aware. But again, I'm grateful because now I'm able to clear a lot of that stuff, and I'm still doing, and I'm able to help in the future, help others be able to understand, what's happening, because there's so much. We're so vast, we're so huge, and the more I become aware, you know, I become more happy because I could see, the end results now. Where before it was just like frustration after frustration, so it makes me proud of myself to be able to go through what I went through now and be able to come on this end and understand that I chose to be put through these scenarios and situations so I can learn from them, not judge them, not blame them. At the time I didn't know, but I think um, I'm going to use because it is my family. I have to thank my family more than anyone, um, because they assisted me to prepare myself for the real world outside of this environment, my present environment. Um, because there's a lot of stuff out there that we just gotta be aware of. Nothing to be afraid of. I want to make sure people understand that. Nothing to be afraid of. It's just a matter of being aware and taking steps to um, take care of your presence, your personal environment, so you could be in that space of peace, love, joy, happiness.
Well, I'm excited for the future. I don't, me personally, I see a lot of benefit to this awakening. And kind of to piggyback on your point as far as the fear, if you're trying your best to be good, do good, be good, then there shouldn't be anything to be fearful about, right? For the most part, those who are not aware, it's they're just not aware. And is it their fault? I don't know, but it's just may not be their time this lifetime just yet.
And
It's,
when it comes to fear, to don't be mad at yourself because you got mad. Don't kick yourself because you feel that you did something wrong. Um, be okay with it. That's a huge part of it, is be okay with anything. Even if you lost it, be okay with it. Appreciate that you lost it, actually. Appreciate that you vented, you know, whatever it took for you to vent, it's what it had to take. I got it out. But learn from it, you know, catch yourself,
mhm.
you know,
And
but
that's the
learn
point of
from it.
awareness. It's
Yeah.
just being aware of what you do, and just, it's kind of like how you raise a child. Okay, you made this mistake, but what are we going to do better the next time? You know, this happens to hopefully avoid it happening again, or come up with a better, I guess, solution, for a better outcome.
Right. No, exactly. Because I'm gonna tell you, I've lost it plenty of times. I'm not gonna. Uh, um,
I think we all do. We're still human. At the end of the day,
yeah,
you cut us off on the freeway, we're going to lose it. You know, we come out of a nice Zen place, something happens, we lose it. I mean, it's just part of it. It's part of the growing pains, basically, and no one's perfect.
pretty much. Yeah, But I am so
So what are
grateful.
your plans for you though? What's your plans for you and your future, and like I don't know, like what's next for you? What are you wanting to accomplish?
Well, I do want to get out there. I do want to speak. Do want to do group healings, individual healings. But for some reason, I went to these a couple events, one where you were at, and I feel that I'm still, uh, how would I say, that something, I called that other individual that I told you, and I didn't get a call back. So sometimes I feel that the universe is kind of testing me to go out there. Not that it's not going to work out now, but I feel that in the near future, um, I'll be getting out more and doing all this stuff. But I feel right now it's more about finding my tribe. I say the word. It's getting together with
Mhm.
another group of individuals, brainstorming and getting this information out there, or traveling. Um, but I do see myself traveling a lot, and speaking. I know I'm going to be speaking a lot. I just don't know where or when. I feel that when the right time is, that door is going to open up. I keep pushing. I keep going. Wherever I'm meant to go, and when it's time, it's time. It's always since I woke up, I've had a divine timing since 11 on everything I've been doing. It's guided me to unique areas, places, people, and even now, I met you. We're
Mhm.
here. So this might be the beginning stages of getting out there, maybe broadcasting more. Who knows? I'm just open to whichever direction this leads to right now. Um,
Okay. Can we go back to how you used to heal, work on people? Can you describe what that entailed? Because I know you have a particular way of doing it, which is very interesting. So I would like you, if you can, touch base on how you do the healing.
so I'll share this. The first thing, so one of the first things I was guided to do when I woke up was to anchor. And I'm gonna share this just real quick. The December 21st, 2012. I was guided with a group of individuals to anchor what we call the divine feminine energy, the whole spectrum. So right after that, I was guided to start working on females, energy work. Um, I had a group of women bring me into the Akashic Record Council, because I didn't know what healing was. Well, actually, I did when I first woke up, but I was told right away that my job was not to heal people. My job was to heal myself,
Mm-hmm.
not to work on anybody. Um, but as time started going by, and after this 9/11, this 12/21, I got to work on people, and I was like, well, how do I work on people? So then I was shown that um, I had gifted hands, that my hands were gifted, and one that I was could ground people, and the other one was when I place my hands on individuals, it opens energies up. And later, I was guided to do clearing on individuals by putting my hands on them. Depends on the area. If they had a pain in a certain area, just clearing. And it's became kind of a little bit deeper. It was more like a cellular level, multidimensional level, quantum level kind of healing. So I was guided to work on clearing, what is it called? Meridian points in a person's body.
The meridian points, yeah, it's like
Yeah,
meridians,
meridian
yeah.
points. Um, and put my hands on in certain areas on the person's body to do the healing, or it was more about allowing energies to flow into the person's body, because a lot of people's bodies are clogged, like their energies, they can't receive
Mm,
the energy. So mine is almost like a penetrating energy that literally kind of breaks a lot of stuff apart.
mhm,
So what I'm going to share right now, when I first woke up, one of my first healings was an individual that came out to my house. I met this young kid. He was a crystal baby, and this young kid, after the December 21st incident, we came back over here, and suddenly he shows up at my house, and he was a normal kid.
mm,
Somehow he got a seizure. Um,
mm,
very high vibe kid got a seizure, and when he's coming into came to my house, he couldn't walk.
mm.
He couldn't. He was limping. His one side of his body was kind of off or something. So I was guided to bring out some of the stuff that I had collected since I had woken up, crystals, and I had to bring my chain. I had to bring some other stuff, and I was guided to place certain things around his body, and then I was guided to actually test his energies. I was learning on him. I'm not gonna lie, I was learning. So I was guided to put my hands over his body and start feeling his energies, and I'm like, whoa, I could feel it. So intuitively, just to share, I was very intuitive my whole life. I got knocked some sense into me. I have stitches in my forehead twice where I hit the corners of furnitures growing up. They were trying to wake me up since I was a kid, but um, so intuitively, I knew exactly what to do. And I went to his head and I started checking all his head energies. And again, I didn't know where his energies were. I just started testing his head. And I noticed that he had an energy on one side of the head and he didn't have it on the other side of the head. So I just ran my hands and ran energy through my hands, and his head was in the middle of it. And I was going through clearing out, and the same thing, the whole body, just clearing things out.
Mhm.
Um, and boom, you know, probably an hour, 2 hours later, after he laid there, rested, did his thing, I was done, and he had to come back together. He woke up and walked away like normal. Even his speech was slur, and it came back to normal. Um,
Wow.
but I met him normal, not like this. So to me was I was just helping him back to his place. I don't know if it's something that I can do. I've never worked on people in general that, have a long-term effect or this, but I have
Mhm.
worked on a lot of individuals throughout the years. And some of these individuals are famous individuals today, popular individuals, from radio talk show people to um, speakers out there speaking. Um, it's amazing to see these individuals just open up. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know it's just not me. They were there beforehand. I was just a little piece of the puzzle, that allowed a
Mhm.
lot more stuff to come out. You know, because trust me, each person is very unique. I'm not the credit. If it wasn't for them, they're the ones who brought me into their life. you
Yeah, no,
know.
one of the things about energy healers is that, when we say we're doing energy healing, we're just the facilitator. We're just helping them heal themselves, or they are the healer. We just help guide the energy to where it needs to go. I know, and it's been proven from my experience time and time again that I can do as much energy healing on myself, but it's not as effective as if someone else were to do it on me, right? And that's just really what it is. You might be open to it, and you are open to it, but you need someone else to kind of help you to just move the energy along to the places where they need to go. So you can, clear the blockages, or in your instance with that boy, help him with the symptoms that occurred after his seizures.
Yeah. And I've had a few other experiences where people told me some amazing things after I placed my hands on them and what they seen. From opening the person's third eye, they seen a bunch of
Mhm.
gold and traveled someplace. From opening the person's heart, similar stuff. See gold everywhere. Visions, things. Um, the other thing I do a lot is what I did to you was hugs. I don't know if you, there's a lady that gives out hugs. I was guided to give hugs now, too. So
Mhm.
when I give hugs, I feel it's the divine feminine and the divine masculine coming down into the individual. Um, Now, when I was at a park one time, I gave a hug to a individual, and another individual walks up, all excited, running up, couldn't believe what they had just seen because they had the gift of vision to see what was going on. And
Mhm.
then they explained to me that when I gave her a hug, this blue light came down and this pink light came down and surrounded us and literally showered the person with those frequencies, energies, and ground it all in. And it literally gives a person a clearing. I don't know how deep of a clearing. All I know is it kind of showers the person with the divine feminine, divine masculine energy.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, from my experience, I can't see colors. I don't see auras or anything like that, but I definitely felt it when in that moment of the hug, I felt like I wanted to go to sleep. I was pretty much done for the day. If I had a bed in my car, I probably would have gone to bed, but instead I had to go back to work. But I was like done. Like I'm like I just can't move anything. I was in it was not draining is not the word. It was just more relaxed, so relaxed. You just want to take a nap.
it's such a high vibe frequencies that literally I could literally put my hand on a person sitting down, and if they sit down and kind of like just in a meditative state, and I'll just put my hand over their head. Literally, the energies will come through and literally put a person to sleep like in a heartbeat. Like literally, they'll
Yeah.
pass out.
Yeah,
Um,
I was standing up, so I couldn't fall asleep.
yeah, no, it's crazy. And it is not. It's just a high vibe. It just allows your body to integrate.
Hmm.
People think that you fall asleep, it doesn't allow to integrate. No, allow your body to go to sleep.
Yeah, no, I knew at that moment that I probably the best case scenario to get the full integration of it was probably to actually do go and take a nap. That would have been the best case scenario for me to fully integrate it and to let it work the magic that it was meant to do. But I didn't have the opportunity to do it then and there. Like in hindsight, if I would have known, like if I were to see you again, I'd be in a place where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go take a nap now, because it's you have to let the body do its job, and the only way it can do it is through rest.
Well, one of the things you see how I have a tree behind me? It's an avocado tree.
Yeah.
When I do my healing work, I have an actual massage table underneath the tree, and this is where I do my
I'm
work.
like looking here. So if I'm looking weird, it's because I'm
Well,
looking behind you.
it's a little mess right now because my dogs kind of tore up the yard.
Oh,
But
okay.
I have a massage table, like I don't know, right around there. I don't know if you can see it.
Uh-huh.
I'm pointing at it. It's covered with a tarp. I don't know if you can see the
Okay.
tarp.
I think I
Um,
can see.
so I do a lot of the energy work out here, and I have cushions and stuff that I put a bed. So when I do the energy work, most people can't handle. They can't. You're not in the state of mind to drive. So they'll just either stay in the bed and sleep, but most people get up and either lay down on the grass or they'll lay down next to the tree or they'll lay down on the bed and they'll just pass out for an hour, or whatever long until their body comes back and plenty of water, and then they move on.
Yeah, you definitely need water, I think, for all of that. I'm gonna drink some water right now. Now that you mention it.
Not only that, fasting, a lot of fasting before the healings too help a lot.
Yeah, I do just because it makes me feel better. I do 24-hour fasting once a week. Um, and the day that I do the fasting is where I have the most heightened states of meditation. So I get really good communication, really good clarity, because energy is not being used in other areas. Like the majority being your digestive system, it takes so much energy to process food. And that is the one area. I mean, even doctors say, you know, when you eat 4 hours before going to sleep so you can have a proper night's rest, because just the way the body works, it spends a lot of energy processing food. So, but fasting I think is important, not for everybody, but I like doing it.
So do I. I mean, right now I'm probably eating once a day, sometimes twice. It's usually within a 4 hour span that I'll eat, once or twice, and then I'll just go on. And right now it's because I'll leave it at that. I got a lot of clearing
Okay, we'll
going
just
right
leave it
now,
at that.
so because
All
I've done
right.
just in the last 3 weeks I've done a 72-hour fast, and I did
Mhm.
another 48-hour fast just in the last 3 weeks. So just trying to keep that my vessel clear and understand the stuff that's happening around me. Like you
Mhm.
said, when we're fasting, we tend to be clearer, we tend to see things. So and take action.
Yeah, no, that's if anyone can do it, I highly suggest it. Even if it's just like the excuse me, like the intermittent fasting where you do like 18 hours or whatever, that's still cleansing the system.
Oh
So
yeah.
anything that cleanses the system, basically.
Yeah, no,
So
they can wait till after 12 o'clock to eat. That's good enough right there.
yeah, yeah, that is pretty good. Okay. So, now that we're at this point, um, just to kind of like close the loop or whatever, what do you recommend people to do? How can they ground themselves?
Well, I mean, it's always a frame of mind when it comes to anything. But because we're still, the 3D reality is still in the physical world, the easiest thing is to take off your shoes and walk barefooted on the grass.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a body of water, go hang out in a lake, beach, but that's the first thing. The second thing is, thinking about setting an intention about you grounding yourself like with roots, a connection with earth. To me was breathing, just the thought of breathing. So every time I took a breath, I always imagined the core of the earth. You have the earth and you have the core, just sucking that energy up into my body and then down. And actually, it was to my stomach.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, and it was just, and the thing is, I used my hands to go up and down as I started breathing, and I felt it, like the energy go up and down. And since then, it was just that feeling of up and down, And then I
Mm-hmm.
started thinking about it, and then I started adding, anchors and roots, and I started doing all this other stuff, crystals, and because my anchor, my root is like a gold chain wrapped around amethyst crystal, wrapped around, the indigo flame. It's just this whole massive, all these different energies of anchoring.
Mm-hmm. Under a copper pyramid with a Merkaba in
Yeah.
the center.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of know
I
that
just
one. We won't go there.
yeah, you know a lot. But yeah, no, the funny thing is I got all this copper piping about making a pyramid that I wanted to build a copper pyramid above the healing table, the healing
Uh-huh.
bed. But that's funny. I just
Yeah,
said that.
I went to Etsy. nor do I know how to make a copper pyramid. So I'm like, oh, Etsy.com. Here we come. Oh my God, that's hilarious. I'm giving out my secrets. I don't tell anyone. My kids think it's a Wi-Fi connection. It makes the Wi-Fi better here for their games. But you know what? Your recommendations are so simple that anyone can do. It's nothing crazy, even just being outdoors too, walking the dog, which is what I do most of the time, just walking the dog and just listening to binaural beats or doing affirmations as I'm walking or what have you. So anything is grounding as long as you set the intention that you're there to ground yourself. So that's a beautiful thing because it's not that difficult.
So I want to share one last thing about waking up and getting into this state. There's a lot of misconceptions about what it takes to open up or to meditate or this. I'm here to share one thing, and I'm a system breaker. I'm here to break all rules, all systems of way of doing things. There is no specific way to do anything. You do not have to go sit in the corner and go meditate and go do your no. But most people, if they find a hobby, something that they love to do, something that could calm their mind and just focus and just be present, you'd be amazed at what comes through, because it's not about sitting in the corner anymore. You could be out there. If you like to wash cars, go wash your car. You'd be amazed of what comes through when you set those intentions, because life is not about sitting in the corner. It's about moving and being in a state of mind in that flow. And you just got to find your flow, whatever that might be. If it's drawing, coloring, reading a book, you know, you might suddenly get a feeling of, oh, I'm reading a book. You get this feeling. And I tell people because I got stuff from everywhere, even from watching a movie. I remember
Mhm.
when the messages started flowing from the movies, and I was just like, whoa, and one download after another. Just be patient with yourself. Just know. At the end of the day, just know. You are in the exactly right place where you're supposed to be. You're doing exactly what you're meant to do, and just move forward. Take the next step.
Beautifully said. Because a lot of people, that's their first thing. I can't meditate. I don't know how to meditate. And I follow Daryl Anka, who is Bashar, channels Bashar. And one of the secret formulas is to always act on your highest excitement for that day for whatever you can do, which is exactly what you're saying right now. You know, washing cars, coloring, anything. That is meditation nowadays. That's where the state of flow, like athletes, they get into a state of flow. They're just, they can do, the Michael Jordans fly across the court. That's exactly right.
Definitely.
Well, Rich, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate our friendship, the conversation, um, for you being you. I really appreciate that you're different and authentic because I love meeting people like you. Whereas other people may not have access to meeting just different people like us. So this is great. I enjoy bringing this to the public because we're just regular people walking around just trying to figure things out ourselves. And in the process, we have all these abilities, and we're still trying to harness our abilities and how we can use it for ourselves and to help others in their journey as well.
Correct. Yes, definitely. And thank you. Thank you for taking the time and being open to listen, receive, share. Um, so thank you for all of it. It was wonderful to meet you, to be able to have other individuals like-minded to be able to communicate with and understand. That's very important nowadays. So I'm very grateful for your presence. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.